There is a chapter in the Bible that most pastors skip, not because it is unimportant, but because of what it contains. 6 verses. That is all we are given. 6 verses describing a race of beings that walked this earth before the flood. Beings the Bible calls mighty men of old, men of renown. Beings that were not fully human, not fully divine. Something in between. Something the world had never seen, and has never seen since. The Bible calls them the Nephilim, but the Bible's 6 verses are only the beginning of the story, because there is another ancient text, a text found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, quoted in the New Testament itself, preserved in the Ethiopian Bible for 3,000 years, that tells us everything the Bible left out. It is called the Book of the Watchers. And today, for the first time on this channel, we are going all the way in. Who were the Watchers? What exactly were the Nephilim? How large were they? What did they do to the earth? And where did they go? Everything you are about to hear is grounded in ancient text. Some of it will disturb you. All of it is real. Before we go into the story itself, I need to explain the 2 sources we are drawing from today, because this video is different from what you will find anywhere else. The first source is the Bible, specifically Genesis 6, Numbers 13, and 2 Samuel 21. These are canonical scripture, accepted, verified, inspired. The second source is the Book of the Watchers, the first section of the ancient text known as 1st Enoch. Now, I want to be transparent with you, as I always will be on this channel. The Book of the Watchers is not in the Protestant or Catholic canon. It is not considered inspired scripture by most Christian traditions. But here is what we cannot ignore. The New Testament writer Jude quotes it by name. The early church knew it. The Dead Sea Scroll community treated it as sacred, and it was preserved with extraordinary care for over 2,000 years. Whether you read it as inspired text, as ancient commentary, or as the most detailed historical account of the Nephilim that survived the ancient world, it deserves to be heard. And when you hear what it says, you will understand why most channels never touch it. Genesis chapter 6 opens with one of the most compressed, mysterious passages in all of Scripture. The world is young, humanity is multiplying, and something has gone very wrong. Sons of God, daughters of men, Nephilim, men of renown. Genesis gives us these 5 loaded phrases, and almost no explanation. The Book of the Watchers gives us the explanation. According to 1st Enoch, the Book of the Watchers, the sons of God were a specific class of heavenly beings. Their name in the Aramaic is Air, or Irin in the plural. It translates as the wakeful ones, the ones who never sleep. They were angels assigned to watch over humanity, to guide, to protect, to observe, and they looked at the daughters of men and desired them. Semjaza, the leader of the Watchers, was afraid of what would happen to him if he acted alone. So he demanded something extraordinary from the 200 beings under his command. He demanded they swear an oath, together, collectively, at the summit of a specific mountain. 200 beings, a sworn oath, Mount Hermon. The Book of the Watchers even names their leaders. There were 20 chiefs, each commanding 10 watchers beneath them. Semjaza was the commander of all, but there was a second leader whose role was different and perhaps more destructive. His name was Azazel, and the Book of the Watchers says something stunning about him. To him ascribe all sin, not Semjaza, not the 200, but Azazel specifically. Because while Semjaza led the rebellion of desire, Azazel led the rebellion of knowledge. He taught humanity things they were never meant to know: weapons, metallurgy, sorcery, astrology, the secrets of the heavens. All of this poured into a world that was not ready for it. Knowledge without wisdom, power without righteousness. And then the children were born. The Nephilim, in Hebrew, Nephilim, from the root nephal, to fall, to bring down, to cause to fall, the fallen ones. The ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament, the Septuagint, renders the word as gigantes, giants, but the Book of the Watchers tells us they were not simply tall men. They were a hybrid species, half angel, half human, something the earth had never contained before. What did they actually look like? How large were they? The ancient sources give us 3 layers of information. Layer 1, the Bible's own evidence. When the Israelite spies entered the land of Canaan and encountered the descendants of the Nephilim, the sons of Enoch, they returned with this report. These were trained military scouts, warriors, men who had survived 40 years of desert. They came back describing themselves as grasshoppers, noted that the descendants of the Nephilim, the Enochim, were themselves large enough to produce this reaction. These were not the original Nephilim. These were their descendants, generations later, and still, grasshoppers. Layer 2, Goliath and his brothers. You know Goliath. The Masoretic text of 1 Samuel records his height as 6 cubits and a span. That is approximately 9 feet 9 inches tall. But what almost nobody talks about are the 4 brothers, family of giants, a lineage, a bloodline that traced all the way back to the pre-flood world. Layer 3, the Book of the Watchers. This is where the description becomes extraordinary. Devoured mankind, drank blood. The Book of the Watchers is not speaking metaphorically here. The Nephilim began by consuming the food of men, then the animals. Then, the text says plainly, they turned on human beings, and the earth began to scream. The archangels themselves, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, looked down from heaven, and what they saw was so extreme that the earth itself was crying out. They brought this before God. Now here is something the Book of the Watchers tells us that almost no one discusses. The Nephilim were not one generation. The Greek manuscripts of 1st Enoch describe 3 distinct groups. First, the giants, the direct offspring of the Watchers and human women. Second, the Nephilim, born from the giants. Third, the Elioud, born from the Nephilim. 3 generations of hybrid beings, each increasingly removed from their heavenly origin, but no less destructive. And with each generation, the corruption deepened. When the cries of the earth reached heaven, God responded. And the response was precise, surgical. Each archangel received a specific mission. Let that land for a moment. Gabriel did not destroy the Nephilim directly. He incited a civil war among them. These beings of enormous power and violence turned on each other. The Book of the Watchers says they destroyed each other in battle before the floodwaters ever rose. And then, as if the violence of the Nephilim's war was not enough, God sent the flood to cleanse everything that remained. But the Watchers, the original 200, were not destroyed. They were imprisoned, bound in chains, cast into darkness beneath the earth, awaiting the day of final judgment. And the New Testament confirms this. Chains, darkness, until the day of judgment. The Watchers are not free. They are not wandering. They are imprisoned, waiting. But here is where the story goes somewhere most people have never heard. What happened to the Nephilim after they died? The Bible is silent on this. The Book of the Watchers is not. Read that again. When the Nephilim died, their physical bodies perished. But because they were hybrid beings, neither fully human nor fully spirit, their souls had nowhere to go. The spirits of the dead Nephilim remained on the earth, disembodied, wandering, hungry for what they no longer had, a physical body through which to experience the world. The Book of the Watchers says these spirits afflict, oppress, destroy, and work destruction on the earth, and they will continue to do so until the day of final judgment. What the Book of the Watchers is saying, plainly, without symbolism, is this. The spirits of the dead Nephilim are what we know today as demons. The Bible mentions unclean spirits, demons, evil spirits. Throughout the New Testament, Jesus casts them out. The Book of the Watchers provides their origin. They are not fallen angels. The fallen angels are chained. They are the children of the fallen angels, looking for a home. Now, back to Genesis 6, because there are two words we must not miss, also afterward. After the flood, after the judgment, after the war among the giants, something survived. The Book of Jubilees, another ancient text from the same period as 1 Enoch, gives us one possible explanation. It states that God permitted 10% of the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim to remain active after the flood, to test humanity. But the physical line also appears to have continued, because when Israel enters Canaan, nearly 1,000 years after the flood, the Anakim are there, the sons of Enoch, who come from the Nephilim, and scholars have traced the Anakim backward, to Arba, to the Rephaim, to Og of Bashan, 9 cubits. At 18 inches per cubit, that is a 13.5-foot bed. The last king of the giant bloodline, killed by Moses. And after Goliath's brothers fell to David's warriors, the biblical record of physical giants goes silent. But their spirits, according to the Book of the Watchers, are another matter entirely. So what do we do with all of this? Because I think there is a real danger in content like this, and I want to name it directly. It is very easy to get caught up in the mystery and miss the point. The point of Genesis 6, the point of the Book of the Watchers, is not the giants. The point is the corruption of boundaries. Something was crossed that was never meant to be crossed. The heavenly and the earthly were not designed to merge that way. The created order had a boundary, and 200 beings chose to break it. And the result was a world so broken, so corrupted at its very biological foundation, that the only remedy was to wash it clean. But even in the most corrupted chapter of human history, even with the Watchers' forbidden knowledge flooding the world, even with the Nephilim devouring mankind, even with the earth itself crying out, Genesis gives us 5 words. But one man found grace. In a world completely given over to corruption, in a generation defined by the Nephilim and the Watchers, and the forbidden knowledge that had poisoned everything, one man, one family, and because of that one man, we are here. The Nephilim are a mirror. They show us what happens when power is separated from holiness, when knowledge is divorced from wisdom, when the boundaries God established are treated as obstacles rather than protection. The Book of the Watchers ends with this. The flood was not the end of the story. It was a reset, and the God who sent it promised it would be the last. Now, I want to hear from you. The Book of the Watchers says the spirits of the dead Nephilim are still here, that they are what we know as demons. That is not a fringe idea. That is the oldest explanation for demons in the Jewish and early Christian tradition? Do you believe it? Does it change how you read the New Testament accounts of demon possession? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Next week on the Silent Scriptures, we go to a figure who is the complete opposite of the Watchers. Not a being who crossed forbidden boundaries, but one who appears without any origin at all. No father, no mother, no genealogy, no beginning, no end. He appears once in Genesis, blesses the father of the entire Hebrew nation, and is never seen again. And yet the New Testament says he is still a priest today. His name is Melchizedek. If you are not subscribed to the Silent Scriptures yet, the stories the Bible went silent on, you already know what to do. I will see you next week.